844 days selling halving, fear grid index at 21%, which is extreme fear, and Bitcoin is currently trading at a 43.7k area. Major support on the 4-hour time frame, daily time frame, pretty much all other time frames. Major support 40k and major resistance 47k. Kind of trading in the middle of it. On the 4-hour time frame, RSI is looking overbought, MACD green face, and volume on the 4-hour time frame is pretty much average, same as the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, MACD is starting the green face, which is pretty nice. RSI is slightly oversold, and 5200 is trading above. In a 1-2 days, we may see finally the dead cross and a cross, which can lead to actually reversal and a bottoming out, you know. On the weekly time frame, MACD is red face, RSI, because again, that cross is a lagging indicator, keep it in mind. Weekly time frame, RSI slightly oversold, slightly, 44%. Volume average uptrend on a daily time frame, weekly time frame. Support is still not broken. We don't have a close below it, which is pretty nice. And on a weekly time frame, we're currently trading above the September lows, which is open close, not a shadow. A shadow is not included. Wicks is not included in this lows, so we're kind of trading above it, which is pretty nice. But on a monthly time frame, we are currently trading at the lows of September, October. Again, shadow wicks not included. Kind of in this range, so it's kind of neutral-ish. If you're gonna trade above the 44k, would be pretty nice for the monthly time frame. BTC dominance 40%, nothing significant, kind of flat. All other major coins is following the Bitcoin, nothing special. So that's pretty much all for the day. Let's move to the news. Let's start with Jack Dorsey creates a fund supporting BTC developers in legal battles. So we're gonna have some support for the BTC devs from Jack Dorsey and his fund. Also, Swiss bank SIBA is interesting name, predicts Bitcoin could hit 75k this year, boosted by institutional investors. So a Swiss bank, SIBA, is actually a regulated Swiss bank that is pretty bullish on a Bitcoin. It's pretty nice, and those words are coming from a bank's CEO, by the way. Also, emergency. There's a lot of speculation around this latest news from Wikipedia, and Wikipedia editors vote against classifying NFTs as art and NFT sales as art sales, attaching those two things. And it is kind of confusing, extremely confusing, because again, my take on this one, when somebody is selling NFT, you're selling two things. You're selling the token and you're selling the image that is attached to the token. For example, you're creating art NFT on an OpenSea, you're creating token, also you're hosting image on an OpenSea. OpenSea is actually half decentralized, half centralized, because all of the NFTs that you're minting on a OpenSea is actually images being attached to the OpenSea hosting. So kind of you're creating the token, also you're hosting your image on an OpenSea host. So technically this token that you're creating is being attached to the URL that is being hosted on an OpenSea. So when OpenSea going down, you only own token with no image. So nobody would know what type of image is actually attached to this token, because the whole link to the URL would not work. So it's kind of half decentralized, half centralized. But if you're gonna look to the older NFTs, like all those old ape NFTs, actually they are not attached to the OpenSea. They are more secure in a way. Technically, it still goes like that. When you're selling some NFT, you're selling the token, and also you're selling the art. Should it be fully defined as an art sale when you're selling the token? Because you can create a token as a coin. For example, Shiba Inu is a token. Should it be? It's being sold it's being bought just as a token. So when somebody is buying NFT art, are they buying fully as an art? Are they buying as a token and art? how the percentage of what are you buying are attached to the percentage of a price. Like, it's confusing, because but at the same time, a lot of more actually speculation around the Bipley and him again. It's the biggest like NFT artist right now, because his latest biggest sale was $69 million. A lot of speculation, should his art defined as an NFT sale or art sale? And I think it's actually a weird question, because when he was selling his 69 million NFT art, he was selling this art at Christian's art auction house, and at that time it was defined as an art and he was defined as an artist, and auction house was selling this as an art, and somebody who was buying it, he was buying this as an art. So it was art sale. So just removing, and the whole point, they're trying to remove it from art sales, because there's a list of the biggest art sales and there's a list of NFT sales. So they're trying to remove it from art sales. So it's kind of confusing, because he was selling this, the whole auction house was selling this as an art. So it should definitely define as an art, but at the same time, there's another problem. He sold token and art, so it's so confusing. So that's the whole point of this. And at the same time, NFT is a pretty general term. You can attach an NFT for an event, for example, access to some event or ticket for some event. You can attach anything like a name for an NFT and sell the name as NFT. So NFT is a pretty general term. To this token you can attach anything on a Web3. So it's so confusing. So that's the whole point of this emergency from Wikipedia. So yeah. Hoping for the 47k breakout and obviously new all-time high this year. To the moon.